Before we begin, please be advised that our podcast may contain some adult themes that may not be suitable for all listeners. Now, on to our show. Welcome to the Sippin Saga Society, where we cover history, mysteries, and overall weird-ass shit. My name is Karina, and today we are joined with Christina and Nevada, who are always with us because I don't know. They don't, it's always the same people.
We
As
don't
I
go away.
We're here.
We're
We
here
literally,
tell good
forever.
stories.
you did tell me that thing. Christina sent me a thing that was like, "You're stuck with me," and we started like threatening each other.
Aggressively, but lovingly.
Yes, it was funny. We're like, "You can't get rid of me. I'm stuck here forever." Anyway, today I am finally telling you what I'm drinking. I am drinking, it's called a gin and juice by Dre and Snoop.
Sipping
Oh,
on gin and juice,
I know.
laid back.
This one is the citrus flavor, but they have passion fruit and like other, I think they have a few other flavors, pineapple maybe, and all of them have these cute little cars on them. And so I wanted to, I
Oh,
know, like the box has a car. I think it's cute. And like I'm madly in love with Snoop Dogg right now. So while I open
as
my
you
can,
should be.
yes, exactly, because it's Snoop Dogg. Who doesn't
It's
love
Snoop
him?
Dogg.
Anyway, as I'm opening this can, Nev, tell us what you're sipping on.
I got a homemade margarita in my cup left over from a batch party. I'm hanging on. And the the drink isn't from then, just the cup. And then I got my life water because I need to hydrate.
Oh, I am also drinking a Gatorade with, with my alcohol because I live for health.
Electrolytes.
Exactly.
All about balance.
Christina.
I also have water, and then I have my usual Dr. Pepper from Popeyes because I just ate a chicken sandwich. I was hungry.
Wow, I've been through a roller
That's
coaster. I
delicious.
thought you were eating a pretzel and then a burger, and now it turns out to be a chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm eating a Pop Tart.
The roller coaster never ends.
It's chocolate.
Balance.
Mm, truly. I don't even remember what I ate today. I think literally two slices of pizza and a yogurt.
You better eat some more, girl.
I know.
Mhm.
I've been running,
That's
dude.
not a lot.
It really isn't. It's not. Mm-mm. It's always that thing where like I don't remember how little I eat until I start tracking. I'm like, oh shit, I should probably eat stuff.
Same.
That isn't like midnight hidden. Yeah, I live
Yeah.
for health. Anyway,
Gotta build that muscle.
I know that's the problem. Then I'm like, you're not gonna have any muscle if you don't eat.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the topic? What's the topic?
I feel like this topic, I'm gonna give you it's gonna be a guessing game right now. It is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and I know too much about, and I'm madly in love with it.
Polyamory.
Oh
I'm
God,
just
that wasn't
kidding.
very good. What's the other? It starts with a P.
Uh,
You're close.
Poll.
Mm! Of course, I was
ooh,
time. Yes.
that is not the word that came to my mind,
Yes.
though.
No, I noticed.
Nev always thinking about sex.
Ugh,
I'm
always.
kidding.
Not
Polyamory
wrong.
is not only sex, Christina. But
It's
we're
a
not going
well,
down
Also not
that
that's
wrong.
rabbit.
true.
We're not going down that rabbit hole today.
We went to
One
brunch
of
on
these days.
Saturday and Nev was talking all about the sausages.
Not the breakfast sausage, though. I do not like breakfast sausage.
I can't do
You don't
breakfast.
like sausage for breakfast?
Not the porky sausage.
No comment. I'm not because it just is gonna go downhill. Anyway, back to
Focus.
the mysterious world of pool. Yeah, well, one, I picked it because I didn't have a lot of time and I was tired. And that's it. That's the topic. That and like I'd already had notes for it. And I
Cool.
absolutely love pool. A little bit about me, people that don't know. other than the fact that I'm madly in love with pole and polyamory, apparently, and wiener dogs, if nobody knows that one. But
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
it's on brand. I did pick this one because I feel like although a lot of people have their own beliefs and kind of like thoughts on pole dancing, um, there is a lot more to it, in my opinion, than just like stripping. But at the same time, we don't need to separate pole from like where it came from, which is stripping. Like you can't benefit from something without acknowledging where it came from and acknowledging the stigma and like the struggle that people go through because they are strippers, you know? So that is my PSA. You cannot separate those two. Just because it is a sport doesn't mean that it is only a sport and does not have the history behind it, in my opinion.
I
So,
agree.
100%.
yeah, exactly. You can't just like pretend that that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like
Just acknowledge it. It's fine.
exactly. But also, strippers are athletes. Like it's amazing. I have had the privilege, there's the edible, of getting to getting
No.
to dance with a lot of people that are really great, really amazing athletes, and that people may not look twice at because they are strippers. I'm not saying that because that is how I feel about it. I'm saying that because I think that is the culture that we live in. And one of the things I did find in my research that I found pretty fascinating was that Japan does not have this sexualized view of pole dancing because they just have never had that in their strip clubs and in their culture. I'm not saying they don't
Mm.
judge people that pole dance, but like it's different when you come in from a culture that has only viewed it as a sex work thing.
I have a
Um,
question
Now it's
then.
perceived
all
very
right.
differently.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, so what do they do in their strip clubs? Because like you're saying, in America, you like very distinctively, you're like, oh, strip club, pole dancing. You don't think that they're just probably doing what's that older school form like from the
Burlesque
1920s?
or like
Burlesque.
just like with the feather dancing.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know what they necessarily have over there, but I do know that, I mean, we will cover it. It is in the history. At a certain point, like we didn't always have like cabarets and like burlesque and stuff and dancers. Like and people that are stripping with the pole. It just was something that was
Yeah.
added like I think in the late 50s and 60s if I'm remembering correctly. I might
That
be
makes
wrong.
sense.
Yeah, but it wasn't like and I mean and I think that's the thing too. It used to be more like like dancing shows because burlesque is very
Yeah.
provocative and I'm not saying burlesque is the same as just stripping, but I mean there is I feel like there is a
But they
difference.
do strip
Yeah, they do.
down to it, so like that idea, but it's not, and they can do it for money, but I also see it being just another form of athletics.
Or like a performance
I don't
art.
know. Yeah. I love a good performance art.
Me too. I want to try doing burlesque, but not yet. I'm not there yet, but one day. One day. Anyway,
They have
so
some lessons here.
I know we should find one and go at the same time.
I'd like that.
Let me know and I'll make the time. Anyway, so the first like, oh my gosh, words are hard. There are various cultural influences that have kind of benefited or have like used poles in dance throughout different like cultures and generations. So one type of pole dance, which I don't really consider it a pole dance in my opinion, but it did pop up when I searched for it, is maypole dancing. And this
Oh,
is,
like the
yeah, this is not necessarily where you're dancing on the pole, but you're like, there's ribbons attached to the top and you like walk around and you
yeah.
dance in a circular step to weave the ribbons together. And then this part I thought was very funny, but like I only found it on in one website and I just was like, okay, well maybe not everybody, but it's a prior to Victorian times. So the Victorians stopping people having sex for no reason. Maypole ritual commonly included a feast and the Beltane orgy. But I don't want to say it was Victorian times. I do want to be like, pre-colonization, Christianity. Once again,
Pre-colonization for sure.
yeah. So there used to be a lot more
Yeah.
with it, but there are, I mean, the Maypole dancing and that Maypole dancing style with the ribbons was found all over Europe from like obviously like England and stuff in Scotland, Ireland, and Spain. So it wasn't just, a bunch of people having orgies. I really think it was more of a, oh, in Sweden, because they definitely do like the midsummer dance.
Yeah, because it's all about fertility. And so like not even just like sex, it's just like that idea of fertility of like
That's why they have orgies.
that fire being because of the magic. A
Exactly.
lot of stuff comes from that lustful energy.
Y'all know so much stuff. I don't know any of this.
Well, that's why we're here for learning. So the next sport that influenced or is a type of pole dance is called Malakab, and it is a sport that has been primarily performed by men, but I know that in recent times, women have also been participating in this sport. And it is a show of gymnastic strength and endurance around a wooden pole. And the difference between this and like traditional pole dance and the way that we know it is that the pole is thick AF. It is like if you Google it right now, it's like probably the size of a good beam, like that you would use for a porch. Like it's a pretty good, solid, multi-inch thick beam. And it is basically this sport was
I've seen
translated.
that though.
Yeah, it's thick as fuck, and it's amazing what people can do with it. Yeah,
Girthy.
it is a sheer girthy pole. It's like you like them.
She a girthy bull.
The sport translates to wrestling pole as it was originally intended as a training implement for wrestlers to exercise and build endurance for the entire body. So they would use this to just work out. It was like their treadmill. And it was
What are they doing on it? I guess I'm trying to
different,
picture.
different gymnastics. So kind of a lot of the stuff, like I wish I could show you the pictures.
What's it called again?
Mala Cobb. So Mallakhamb.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've seen this at the Olympics. It's crazy.
Yes, and it is an Olympic sport. I think that's pretty recent, honestly. I sent it in.
Oh,
Isn't it crazy?
that is very interesting.
Isn't
That is not what I thought it was. Like
Isn't it?
I didn't think it was anything, honestly, because I didn't know what to expect, but
Yeah. So they
that's
would.
very
and he
impressive.
climbed to the it reminds me, oh my gosh, it reminds me of a lot of things, honestly.
Wow, that's impressive. People are so
But
strong.
I
they
know.
do
I
some
don't.
like crazy cool stuff with it.
Yes, I try to find like some really good examples of what it would look like, and I found like those would be super impressive. And the guy that's standing up in the middle, like, what the hell are you doing? You're gonna fall. But it was primarily men that would do
You're
this.
gonna fall.
I can't say shit. I pull dance all the time. You have to learn to fall. That is the big thing, is that you do have to learn to fall when you are partaking in any of the aerial sports or any sport in
That
general, I
makes
think.
sense.
You need
You
to
should
learn
learn
how
how
to,
to fall. Yeah.
you need to learn how to safely catch yourself for sure.
Yeah. Otherwise you get hurt.
Hmm.
I'm so sorry, you guys, if I'm like twitching a lot. I have so many flies in this freaking room.
I'm so sorry.
I left my door out. Okay, focus. Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm been focused the whole time. This is why we edit, okay? This is why I listen to this again and edit the whole thing.
You do a
Anyway,
good job too.
I feel like I do decent. I've been getting better and it's getting faster. It used to take forever, dude. So our next kind of pole is Chinese pole, which is very similar to like kind of the thickness that we're used to in like regular pole dancing, quote unquote. So they use in Chinese pole two rubber coated poles to perform. This website said supposedly, and I'm like, God, okay, just because you can't do it, website writer. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, and also,
Shade.
I know, like rude. They perform gravity-defying acrobatic tricks, leaping from pole to pole, holding poles, and showcasing incredible strengths almost 20 feet in the air. The rubber coating is used to improve grip, but so because it is covered in rubber, you have to use you have to wear a lot of clothes to protect yourself from the friction burns. It is often performed with multiple people, and you can see a lot of overlap with the pole dance world as well as in the movie world, where it was seen in Ocean's 11 by Xiaoba Chin, a member of the internationally acclaimed Peking acrobats. And it's definitely like a Vegas Cirque du Soleil kind of performance because you have multiple poles, you have multiple people, and they're jumping back and forth doing all this stuff. And it's
I
just
think I remember seeing it in Ocean's 11. I watched all the Ocean movies because I really like, I'm an action movie girly, so, and like stuff like that. But that's very impressive, especially with the rubber coating, because I can't imagine jumping from pole to pole and then like scraping your skin on that,
Oh
you
my
know?
God,
Nev,
no,
that
Ugh.
is
fuck that
an
shit.
awesome example, Nev. I
I'm
really
here
like
for it.
that one. It looks,
Uh,
it also looks like it hurt like a bitch.
Gracitude, I think is where I got it.
I like that.
It's like
Um,
30 feet tall, you guys. Those poles.
I know I think they're, yeah, 20 feet and plus.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
I could not,
I
but
couldn't.
I say that and then I go do bullshit. What the
You're
oh,
fine. You'll be good.
it's good. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just, yeah. I'm not a big tricks girly, if anybody was wondering. I'm more of a dancer and actress.
I love
Don't
it though. You've
don't
got the
hire me.
drama for it.
I do have the drama. I'm excited for my next performance. Anyway, so our history of like modern pole in America as we know it today is probably started in the 18th century in circus sideshows and dances known as the hoochie coochie dances they would do in circuses.
That's my type of dance.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's about the coochie. Sorry, that's terrible. So circuses would like have like people that would be in the middle, like women that would be in the middle, and they would dance as a source of entertainment around the pole that held up the tent.
Oh, like go-go dancers.
Mhm.
Essentially, yeah, but they were like, there's this pole, let's use it to dance and do tricks on. Um, and so they would spin
That's
around
really
the
cool,
pole.
actually, though.
Yeah, like they were using I think they were just dancing anyway, and so they were like, all right, well, you could just use this thing that's right here. They used rich jewelry, short skirts, exposed midriffs, and it caused quite a stir in the 18th
In
century.
children, like, isn't that what circuses are for?
Grown people going to circuses?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, no, they don't just put the kids in there and be like, peace, good luck. And it's in the 18th century. They did not have TV. You gotta find it where you can find it.
Okay, honey, the circus is in town. Let's take the
Oh, we're
kids.
going. The hoochie coochie girls, we're going.
You're just going for the girls. Yes, ma'am.
It's for the
Yes, I
kids.
am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Because you knew
Recognize.
how they were. They're like, you're not doing that for me at home.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's me at home.
But also, this is gonna be terrible. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'll keep this in or not, but like some man out there was like, I'm not into white girls, but because it was primarily women of Middle Eastern or Eastern European gypsy heritage.
Yeah.
So like,
It's
you know what
I
I
think
mean?
it's
So
okay if you say that.
right. But
Yeah,
like,
people like to use the word exotic for some reason.
I do be
Yeah,
exotic.
that word.
No, it really, I mean, I was raised in freaking the South in Arkansas. I was seeing
Oh my God.
in like the middle of Arkansas in Searcy. So like
Cersei.
in Searcy, Arkansas. And because of that though, I do have a lot of experiences with men that would be older and like you would I mean, sorry, but like definitely would not vote to keep me in the country. It
But
didn't
in
have
your bed, that's another thing.
exactly. And because I am a light-skinned Mexican woman, I have that like I'm just exotic enough, and that is the word. I'm just different
Uh-huh.
enough to be attractive
Mm-hmm.
and not threatening enough
Yep.
to be an issue.
Because you can assimilate,
Yeah, because
right?
I could just be no, when I lived in Cabot, I had a lady come up to me. I was leaving the post office and she was looking at me like she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, I love your," and she like stopped and she was gonna say tan. And then she
Mhm.
said skin color, and you could tell like she was embarrassed as fuck. But it's like, how do you tell someone that you like how brown they are?
Your skin is appealing to me.
Girl, my sister-in-law did that when Logan, never, do you remember Rachel? Whenever Logan was born, she was like, his skin color is like perfection or something. And I was like, okay, he's white, you know?
Okay.
I'm like, you could, and it's so interesting though, because like sometimes I'm like, you do that with hair, you're like, oh, you don't think anything about it, but then you're like skin tone, you're like,
Now it
I
feels
don't know
weird.
about that.
It's starting to feel
Mm-hmm.
Silence of the Lammy.
A little bit.
A
Well,
little.
because I've been even told like by people like
No,
growing
Tina.
up or like not even growing up, but like in like I don't know, like I don't maybe it was work in the workplace too, but like because
Not the
I am more
workplace.
olive toned, but like they do like I have been told like, oh, like I really like your olive complexion, which I feel like is a very more proper way to say that.
I think that
Or
is
I can take it more of as a compliment than, being like I don't know what to call her skin tone. Like, you know what I mean? But saying it and sometimes it's just knowing about how to say things and
yeah.
finding
Is
the
the
right
hesi
words to say things.
Yeah, I
is the
mean, yeah.
hesitation worse though, like than if somebody were just to
Oh
say
no.
like, oh, I like your skin color? Is the I feel like the
I would
hesitation's almost worse.
I would have taken I like your skin color to be like, I can't think of a word for skin color, so this is what I'm using.
Yeah.
But
Because
my thing is with confidence
complexion sounds
too.
nicer, yes. But
Yeah.
the fact that she
Yeah.
paused and just stared at me, I was like, I don't know what to do right now. I feel like you're want my
Yeah.
skin off my body, you weirdo.
Hmm.
Don't look at me too hard. I I've been raised in the
You
South.
have to pay to do that?
Exactly. No, I've been raised in the South. I know what it's like.
You knew what?
I know what's up. It sounds terrible. Anyway, so
Mm,
back to the story.
that's the life though.
It did cause quite a stir in an era where women dressed modestly in corsets and petticoats, and the term hoochie coochie caught on quickly, as it was a catch-all to describe the sexually provocative belly dance-like dancing. So, moving on to more modern pole dance history. In 1968, Belle Jangles performed the first exotic pole dance routine at a mugwump strip joint in Oregon, and it was an art as well as a performance. And that was one of the first times that was ever done.
Oregon.
Hmm. And I think that strip joint was like around for a very long time, if not still around. I feel like I should Google it, but
Oh, that's cool.
it was very historic. Oh no, you know what? I think it burned down. If I'm
Oregon
not,
seems kind of like small, like not small, but like you know what I mean. Like you don't. I feel like it's not one of those like you'd expect like a big city or like Las Vegas or New York or Florida or you know what I mean.
I
Like,
get what you mean, but I think because of that, I feel like when I think Oregon, I definitely think more inclusive. I
hmm,
mean, I
Me
feel like
too,
the West
yeah.
Coast is definitely more inclusive for
yeah.
the most part. Um,
Y-
and I think that was
Yeah.
the first time that it wasn't just like stripping, but it was an art. It was a performance.
Hmm.
And so then in the 1980s, that is when strip clubs, as we know them, um, with pole shoes and the heels and like the whole outfit like situation, um, was really thriving. I mean, and that makes sense. I do feel like thinking of the 80s, I definitely think of like cocaine in the strip club and like
Hmm. Hmm.
pretty woman energy.
Hmm. I agree.
Yes.
Pretty Woman was not then, but like it does feel kind of right.
Hmm.
Um, so that is also when a Vancouver studio began teaching both pole on the pole and off the pole choreography. And this is probably one of the first times that it was being like taught to other people, that it wasn't just like you are on your own trying to learn your own dance, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So 1994, Fawnia Mondey begins to teach colleagues and dancers locally. So she opens her class, and this is the woman that was teaching in Vancouver. So this is the first time she's teaching like officially other people. So not just
Ooh,
people that she works
girly.
with as a stripper, but also other dancers that are just in the area. By 2001, she opens her own classes and a school in Canada for pole dance. And she started the first video course on pole dancing, which was the initiation of a dance education, not just like as business training. It was just like this is how for dancers, for artists. Established and so she established Pole Fitness Studio in Las Vegas. So she had she opened classes, she opened a school, she started a video course for people that were not local to her area, and then opened up a studio in Las Vegas. And that studio is still around like to this day. I got a lot of this information from that studio's website because Mondey was like huge in creating pole in the sports sense that we know it right now. In
What is
2000,
she? Is
oh, go
that
ahead.
person a real okay, that real person. What's her name? Or his name?
Fawnia,
Ooh.
Fawnia, Mondey, and she's still in Las Vegas, and I'm pretty sure she still I don't know if she still teaches, but she definitely still owns the pole fitness studio. I mean, this was not that long ago. It was 1994.
Yeah. Low. Like, how old is she?
I don't
She's
know.
like the grandmother of pole.
She's the lady of pole.
Yeah, honestly, what a queen. I mean,
And
and hustle. Like,
there's multiple pole fitness studios in Las Vegas alone. Like, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, but she did it all. Um, in 2000, Sheila Kelley opens S Factor in Los Angeles and starts pole dance as a fitness class for women as a physical sport. And she also made videos and books. She popularized the term pole fitness, and that was in 2000. And definitely, in my opinion, pole right now is still it's like in its baby stages as a sport. It is
mhm.
definitely rearing up, and I do think that a lot of people are like becoming more intrigued by it, becoming less stigmatized to it, separating it a little bit from sex because we see it a lot more. But it definitely is a baby sport, you know. I mean, I still definitely get
Yeah.
looks whenever I tell people like I do pole. I think it's one of those things that people are comfortable with, like, oh, I did it for a bachelorette party, but like not as like a full-time thing, if that makes sense. It's a
Yeah. It's like, oh, I tried a pole dancing class one time. How quirky of me.
Yes. Well, and I just
But
saw
I think
an
it is crazy how they don't differentiate it. Because, like, when you told me, like, I feel like people's minds automatically go, like you said, to like the stripping, right? But it's
Hmm.
like you're not stripping, like you're literally, you know what I mean? So it's like I don't, yeah,
Mhm.
It's
like,
it's kind of like the idea of cheerleading in high school though, right? Because like that it takes a lot if you're doing it competitively. I never did it, but it takes a lot of strength. But a lot of times people are like, "Oh, cheerleaders, how silly," or whatever else. All they do is just dance in those short skirts.
I definitely feel like people, one, don't take primarily women's sports seriously. I said it.
No.
yeah.
And I
Well, and
back
they
that.
tend to
I'll
like
back it.
generalize
I'll back it.
too. Because
Hmm.
like anytime like I tell someone like, oh, like I dance, automatically they're thinking
You gonna
stripper.
dance for me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, no, like I mean like dance, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not like
Oh,
that. Like
the amount of times I get, oh, you pole dance? I have a pole for you. The amount of
Wow,
I
so
get. Oh
original.
my God.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Wow. You think of
frustrating
that all by yourself?
because it's like it is a sport also. That is the thing. You do not get good at pole. That is the other thing I think that is very frustrating for me is that I have so much appreciation for anybody that can pole dance. And if you can pole dance and make it look easy and effortless, like God,
Hmm.
then how many hours, how many bruises, how much did you hurt yourself? How much did you push yourself to get to that point? And nobody ever looks at it as an art, like other than like a performance for me and thinks about what it's doing for them. But it's like, what did she go through? I think it's just as a person who's like madly in love with this sport, it is and like in extension, like I'm also really passionate and feel very strongly about dancers now because
Hmm.
it's like, oh my God. And I
The
do not,
technicality and skill that goes into things that people think like, oh, I could do that. Like, I mean, going back to kind of what you said, Nev, like when it was dancers and cheerleaders be like, oh, I could do that, right? We dance. And then we would show them something, and though they were flexible enough to do it, right? Or whatever, they couldn't do it gracefully. Or, they
yeah,
didn't have that technical skill to land and, hit the leap and land it like they were supposed to, or, do the proper form for a pirouette and do it properly or whatever. Like there's so many technicalities that goes in with dance that I feel like people, like you said, don't appreciate because they know it's not easy to make it look that easy.
oh yeah, that's exactly it. It is a hard, painful, very like often ugly sport in so many ways, like dancing in general. I'm just generalizing. It is a hard sport. And because people don't see you beating the shit out of your face
Yep.
every, Sunday watching, like when they watch football, they think it doesn't matter because they are thinking like, oh, this woman's an object I can like sexualize and make her, think about her, whatever. But
Yeah.
like you don't think about how much work she's going through to do all that shit that she's doing on the field right now because she's a
Hmm.
cheerleader. It doesn't matter. I mean, I feel like it's the same thing. Like all these
Yeah.
women-led sports, it's like they're here for me to think about them, and they'll look hot for me. But it's like they look hot and they look effortless and they look graceful because they're
Or
working hard,
Hmm.
and it's not for you.
or it's like they are like, oh, we do this because it's like a pity thing. Like, oh, like girls soccer, our girls soccer team is far better than our male soccer team. And yet, they don't get paid even nearly as close as our soccer boys do. But
Yeah, but they're
what's
better.
up with that?
Look at
But they're
Megan
better.
Rapinoe.
Yeah, they are. Our
They
female soccer
really
team,
are.
definitely better.
Oh, yes, but they're women, so nobody cares.
Uh,
That's a struggle.
yeah,
We struggle.
exactly.
We struggling. So, but also in the
Like we
2000s,
gave it to you.
it was a gift. You weren't supposed to be better at me then. So in 2000 also, we kind of start seeing the thriving and the popularity of social media and how that starts to kind of impact the way people feel about pole dancing in general. Because then people start seeing like, oh, internet sharing, and there's also like, oh, videos of people teaching, and it starts to create more of a community in the pole
Yeah.
dancing world. And I feel like in general, I think social media, as like demonized as it is definitely very like it does unite people in a way.
Oh, definitely.
So in 2005, pole that was a lighter, sorry. Pole dance competitions, including Miss Pole Dance World Australia, Miss Pole Dance UK, and World Pole Championship based in the Netherlands began. So this is the first time that it is like we're judging you based on how you pole dance. It is becoming a little bit more of a sport. And so then in 2009, the International Pole Sports Federation was founded to turn like pole dance into pole sport, to make it like an official sport. And this was needed because in order to become like they wanted to be in the Olympics, and you can't do that without having like official rules and official regulations. Because I think in order to be in the Olympics, you need to be able to judge people by the same rubric, right? And how do you do that when
Yeah.
you don't have one? So the International Pole Sports Federation was founded, and they created the rules and regulations, and as well as a code of points and policies for health and safety and the creation of certifications for sport officials. So it was definitely more of a standardization in the pole world rather than just a bunch of different teachers teaching things in a bunch of different ways. So in 2011, that's the thing, it took so many years, and the International Pole Sport Federation started in 2009, and they're still adding and changing to that system. But I mean, I feel like most sports do that. They don't stay stagnant. You add and you change and you add different categories and look
Yeah.
at different
Yeah.
things.
Things are like ever evolving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in 2011, that's when the first code of points was created for pole. 2012, the first world championships. And then in 2013 was the first, was the introduction to a youth program, which I know is very controversial in the pole world. Children in pole.
I feel like I would have some uneducated opinions, but like I might just stand by those.
Right, but that's the thing is it's hard because we have been raised to see it in a very sexual way, and there are some moves that are very like could be seen as sexual, but like I've also watched a lot of dance competitions and then watched oh my gosh, what is it? Like pageants, and then you start kind of be like, well, what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's fair. So
there's a
it's
lot
like
of
the setting plays a lot into it.
it does. And like there's a
Yeah.
lot of nuances and a lot of like I don't want to get into it really because I feel like everyone has their feelings on it, and I respect like you're allowed to make your decisions and your choices about how you feel about kids, but I don't have any kids, so I feel like I don't really have a whole ton. You know what I mean? A lot of in
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like everyone's allowed to make their decisions with how they want to raise their kids and what they want to be in and don't want them to be in.
That's and that's a fair. I'm with that
Hmm.
as long as no one's hurt.
Exactly. But also, kids get hurt in gymnastics.
That too.
So, it's like
Yeah, no, just across the board.
exactly. In 2017, the pole observer status, which is the first step at becoming, oh my God, I'm restarting a sentence. Pole was recognized in observer status, which is the first step at becoming a globally recognized national and international sport by the Global Association of International Sports Federation. So there's literally a whole entity made to kind of like decide what sports are.
Hmm.
So they're finally in observer status, which is a stepping stone to making it to the Olympics. And that was in 2017.
That's
So the,
it's crazy how recent all of this is, like the dates that you're providing. You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, you've always like known about it, right? Because
yeah,
people talk and you watch movies or whatever, and but it's like with the dates that you're giving, it's crazy. I mean, kind of like what you said, it's still, like now it makes sense. Like it is still baby sport because
yeah,
I mean, 2017, like that's not that long ago. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
wild.
It was literally just recognized as like an official
Yeah.
sport. But yeah, the owner or the president of Pole Sport Federation, Katie Coates said it was a historic moment for pole, and I feel like that, that's very true. And
Yeah.
as a person who is in love with it, um, yeah, like I find that super exciting, and like to be able to be recognized as an Olympic sport, then you can definitely be like, I think that it would make, not that I think that pole needs more credibility,
Fuck yeah.
but I do feel like it would make it a more official standardized sport.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So that's a
But I
little
mean,
bit,
how is that any different from gymnasts though?
that's what I'm saying.
You
I will
know?
say it changed my perspective about it a little bit just because of my like preconceived, not even about like it, just like what society has told me,
Hmm.
like rewiring yourself. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, athletes actually do it too.
And it's hard. Well, and that is the thing that I feel like recently, pole has become more of a um acceptable scene, like more seen sport, if that makes sense. I don't know how to word that.
Hmm.
So you definitely have been seeing it a lot more. I know that like America's Got
I
Talent or
was
whatever
just
that
gonna
show
say
is
that. Yep.
Yeah.
definitely has had pole dancers. I
Hmm.
know like Cirque du Soleil has added pole dancers. Snoop
Yes.
Dogg has had pole dancers on stage. There's pole dancers all up in the what is it called? All the music videos. Um,
Yeah,
there's oh,
because
oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, because I feel like when you separate the idea of like it's dirty to dance for money singularly, but then they're doing it for like name brands or like high scaled people, it provides a more like, oh, this is socially acceptable, whether we like it or not.
But I think that it gives it kind of a more of a recognizability, and it's like you're kind of introducing people into it slowly. Like, see?
Yeah, it shifts the perspective.
Yes. And I do think that a lot more people are definitely open to the idea and they're like interested in it. If you see it as a sport, it does become a more available thing. But that being
Yes.
said, there is a lot of controversy amongst the pole world because a lot of strippers don't like that it's like, a sport and vice versa. And a lot of people try to separate the sport from its past, which I don't think is the greatest way to see things because
It's
as
not
much
fair.
no, well, and then you don't have to love sex work, but that's because like you don't have to do it. No one's asking you.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Exactly.
it is a valid form of work, and you bringing down strippers in and benefiting from their craft is not like you don't win a prize. You're not better
Seems
than
super
anybody.
ick.
Yeah,
Like
and it's like you need to recognize, I mean, whatever, do what you want, but like the fact that this is where it came from, and
honor.
yeah, and you need to honor where it came from. That's it. That's
I
the
don't
word.
know how people don't respect them more because like I mean,
It's
like you
so
said, like that's
hard.
their job. Yeah, but I mean that is hard. And I'm talking about these girls that are learning to do this for work, right? Like they're
Mm,
not, this is not a fun thing for them, right? Like working is not like sometimes working is fun depending on your job, I guess. But like when you're out there and you really be trying hard to make money for yourself, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
then on top of that, like you have people that are discrediting you. Like you said, you have people that they think that they're better because, I'm not selling my body, but I can do it. That doesn't mean shit because you have these girls out here who are probably just the same amount as like what is it, athleticism, then you know what I mean, than anyone else. And they're making dollars for it. Like work, baby. Like
If you're mad that you cannot make the dollars, that's a you problem.
then maybe you should be making the dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No one's stopping you.
go make the dollars since you can do it.
We're gonna get lots of hate comments for this.
Well, they
I'm
can
That's
because when
okay.
I lived in Texas, I almost tried not for the strip part, but I was gonna try to work as a bartender for a
Mhm.
strip club. And if anyone knows me, I am a very innocent person, I guess you would call that. Like I walked into the club, and when I walked into the club to apply, I saw a pair of legs split open and
They did
everything
that.
was out there. And I turned around
Shut
and I
up,
walked out the
Christina.
door because I was like, I don't think I can do this.
I can't see them every day. I don't
I
even
was
look
just
at
like, I wasn't prepared. I've never been in
that.
that kind of environment before. Like, I was just like, wow. And I like turned around because I was like, I just,
No, Christina.
yeah. I thought, but I was wrong. But
That's
like,
on
but
brand
I
for you
respect people
though.
that do that though, because like for me, like because like obviously people you do things right with what you feel comfortable with for work or whatever you're making money. I was gonna be a topless bartender, like that's what it was like you serve drinks topless. I was
Ooh,
like,
pop
okay,
off,
it's the
sissy.
titties, whatever. But
I bet
like
you do that.
I think for me, you'd be really good at that, Karina. You two know. Y'all
Pop a
got
can
y'all
with
got them
I love having
melons.
my boobs out. I love
Y'all got the
the
melons,
whole
girl. But
they get in the way. They get in the way.
yeah,
They
it was
do.
just crazy. Like in my head, like I don't know what I chalked it up because, like I said, you watch movies, you have these preconceived, like oh, like like
You
they're
gotta
just.
harness that main character energy.
Really do.
And I walked in and I saw and I was just like, wow, like, and I don't know if it was a mix of like, obviously she's working her confidence, but like for me, never being I mean, we grew up in the South, Karina, like we're not around stuff like this. And
Not
so
only
when
did
we
we grow
went
up in the
in,
South, we were minority children, so we were like sexually repressed a lot. You do
yeah,
not
and
speak.
like extra sheltered and like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you weren't exposed to stuff like that. And so in my head, like I was just like, oh, like it's just like because to me, it's just the body, right? It's your body, whatever. But I just wasn't
Yeah.
prepared for it. And I was just like, oh wow. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. Like this wasn't like I felt like Morty from Rick and Morty. Like I had a Morty moment. Like I was just like, oh, and then I left. I was like, I couldn't do it. Like Morty's always fucking panicking. Like
Important
that's
moment.
the one.
I grew up very opposite. I was raised by my grandma, so like not a lot of supervision because she was old and tired of my bullshit.
I feel that. I feel that I don't have kids.
And so I exposed myself to everything because she had no clue how the fucking internet worked, you know? I learned.
I can't say anything. I used to read a lot of like romantic novels when I was a kid. And I remember one time one of the librarians, and this is before like the self-checkout at the library. The
Oh
librarian
yeah.
was like, "Is this book for your mom?" And I was like, "Sure." I don't know what you mean. And then at the time
Asking
I
a
was,
child that.
yeah, I was like, "Sure." I think I was like 12. And I was like, "I guess,
Shut
sure."
up, Karina, because right now I have my sister-in-law who's 12 at my house, and today we took her to the library today, and she said,
Addie.
"Where?" Yes. Oh my gosh. She said, "Where's the adult section? Because these kids' books aren't doing it for me." And I was like, "What do you read?" And she's like, "Smut." And she's like, "Bright red."
Hey, no, in my defense, I did not read smut, and I still do not really read smut
I
because
was
I
like,
find it overwhelming.
"Oh
It's
my
too much.
God, no." So I did not take her to the adult section because I was like, "Whew, I'm not your
No, you're
mom."
12.
Also, I said, "Addie, I think you're
Serena
looking for
Junior,
the,"
calm
I said,
down.
I think you're looking for the young adult section. Like,
Mhm.
because there's a difference between like teen and young adult. Okay.
Yeah, or like kid
So,
and young adult. Yes.
yeah. So I clarified with my mother-in-law first, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I will help you find the right section, but I'm not taking you to the adult section. No.
No.
She
Well,
tried
and
it.
the thing, I did not know what that book was about, and it was like anyway. So this lady had to have like an orgasm so she could complete this pearl necklace or something, and
Stop
I was like,
it.
what a phenomenal novel for a child.
Novel.
English, English, and I could read whatever.
I remember watching TLC and them being like, there's this lady who she would just have to have an orgasm. Like she'd bump up against the coffee table and she'd have an orgasm. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
See, fucking too much, dude. And she's like, one day I'll find a partner that like will satisfy my hunger or some shit like that. It was like the most wild.
Have
I
you
was like,
seen the one where she like couldn't stop? Like she had just orgasms like all the time.
yeah, how
And like she's like
torturous.
sitting next to her partner, just like
I
fucking
know.
and I'm just like, dang girl, like
Ethereal bliss becoming torture, literally.
Anything of anything of any too much of anything. That's not a way to say words, but
Too much of a good thing is still a bad thing.
exactly. We can't. Moderation is key, everyone. Okay. So sorry for the rambling. I'm just apologizing now. But thank you so much for joining us on Sip and Saga. Pole dance is now a very expansive sport. It is, I see it as a sport, an art, dance. It is whatever you want it to be. Um, just my little like disclaimer on pole. I've been doing it for the last 4 years on and off. It, in the way I like to say it, it definitely saved my life because I was in a very depressed, not great time state, and it was the one thing that kept me moving and kept me going and has kept me going over like my hard times in my life because I know that this is like so nerdy, but like pole has always been there for me. It has given me confidence that I never knew that I could have, and I feel really strong and really powerful and apparently like really sexy because that's the only thing my body wants to do. She's a slut.
well, like as
But
you should though, because you have worked
I
really
love
hard.
that.
Yeah,
I
and
do
seeing
work
like
really
your
hard.
progression is amazing. Like you are doing so good.
Thank you. And I'm really excited. I love it and I love having a goal and I love watching myself get better. So if you're somebody that's ever thought about doing pole or been concerned about it, it is a very inclusive sport. Most of the circus sports, so aerial, lyra, hammock, trapeze, anybody in circus like that I've met has always been super cool, super inviting. We're the weirdos, we're the freaks. We want you here with us. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that is like it has definitely always become my home and I have always been comfortable. I've done pole dance or classes in Connecticut and in Las Vegas, and I've been to LA and I've done pole competition. I'll be in Seattle in November, and so I'm just very excited to like, explore where I can go because this sport is all about what you make it, the time that you put in. And I mean, I feel like that's what life is. It is what you put your energy and love and your passion in.
Hmm.
And so I hope for everyone that if it is not pole, that you find something that is what brings your passion and your creativity and your like love for life out in you. And I think that's really all we can ask for, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
hmm
And if you ever try pole, remember to wear shorts because Karina did not tell me that.
depending on the pole, because they do have silicone covered poles, and those you need to wear probably clothes with. And they also, if you did not know, one, the pole does spin, but you can turn it off. I do
That's
consider
cool.
static to be really hard, but spin is really hard too. I highly recommend if you're a beginner to start on static because I think that it gives you a really good foundation. Because spin is a whole other thing. They're
Oh, that was
consistent.
hard for me.
When you
I
turn
mean,
the
I
skin
was
on,
also
it's
in pants, but
yes, you're like, I'm just trying to hold on for dear life because
yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying.
like, I'm not on the pole. I'm not staying on here.
Yeah. And the worst thing is when you record it, you watch yourself and you're like, that was the second. I'm a little bitch.
You're like, that felt like forever. It was
We
not.
also do have an aerial pole. So you just like hang it up from the top and the pole just swings
Ooh,
around and you do a bunch of pole shit on it. And that one is
cool.
silicone covered. So you should probably wear more clothes. So,
That's super cool.
Gee,
yes.
that sounds awesome.
So thank you so much for joining us on our very chatty episode today.
We're over already?
We are over already. I'm so sorry.
So sad.
I know. But we will have a new episode probably next week because I've been trying to record consistently. Thank you. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Instagram at Sippin Saga Society. I think there's an underscore under before society, as well as Facebook. Let us know what you're sipping at any of our social media accounts. Have a good one. Goodbye. Go
Thanks, guys.